There are some really effective things that we can incorporate in our weekly or monthly, however often we get together to rehearse. And one of them is when we have a new guest, you want them to feel really welcomed. You want there to be a warm vibe. Right. And here's something that I learned about, and then I modified. I had a friend of mine out in Massachusetts, and he had gone and visited a chorus, and he auditioned, and they said, yeah, it's not going to be a good fit. And he was like, oh man. And he really wanted to do this, so he went to another chorus and started to connect with people, and then auditioned, and they said, yeah, it's not going to work out. And I don't know if he went to a third one. I think he did. So I know of at least two, but I think he went to a third one, audition, didn't work out. And he said, Paul, I went to the fourth one, and it was just a little bit different. Not that I didn't have fun before, but it was just a different kind of fun. And people really cared about me, and not what they could get for their group, but they cared about me as a person. And wow, that just made all the difference in the world. And the thing that really made the difference is, this is him talking, is that he went home that night and he was, just bouncing off the walls, having a great time. And 2-3 days later, he goes into the mailbox, and instead of there being a bunch of advertisements and bills or whatever else is going to be in there, there was a handwritten envelope. And he's like, whoa, what's this? Huh. And so he opened it up, and it was a handwritten note from a person in the chorus that just said, hey, it was really great to have you here. We look forward to seeing you again. And just sign their name. And he's like, wow, who does that? So here's the updated version. So I learned from that, and I went, I like this because it is active and personal. It shows forethought. So here's my challenge, is to go out and have you find for your group 50 blank thank you cards. And then you have everybody in the group sign it, leaving a section in the middle. So it could be Paul shows up to your group, and it could be that John is the person that seems to connect with me on that evening. Hey, Jackson. Seems to connect with me. And so he grabs that blank thank you card that's got everybody's signatures on it. And he writes in it, Paul, it was great getting to meet you and to learn about your insurance business, and your wife, Amy, and your two boys, Jackson and Parker. We just really had a great time. We look forward to seeing you again. And it wasn't just signed by John. It was signed by every single person in there. And I'm going to be reading that and going, wow, they all want me. They all took the time. That's awesome. So, 50 blank thank you cards. I'd like to share another one about directors. So directors, this is for you. We talked about growing your group can make higher level singing very attainable. Because, hey, you've got 120 people in your chorus, choir, chorale, etc. It's going to be a lot easier. And so here's one of the things. Here's the problem, though, is that a lot of times the directors aren't just directors. They're they're having to be the person with all the bedside manner and helping people that are struggling and setting up shows, writing the shows, determining what music we're going to sing, growing the chapter, or the group, determining what's going to happen at a rehearsal. I mean, the list is long and arduous, both. So here's something that I was actually coaching out in Boston, and I remember his last name, but his name was Jim, that I stayed with, and he said, Paul, I know you just landed, but tonight I have another group, because I was going to work with his group on Saturday, but he said, hey, Friday night, I have this other group that I sing with. I would love it if you could come hear us. And so I said, sure. And so we went to this absolutely gorgeous Bostonian church, that in the front of the church, so the people are performing here or just practicing here or rehearsing here, sorry. They were a rehearsal group, not a practice group. And behind them was this huge rows of stained glass. And it had to have been, I want to say 30 feet, but it was at least 25 feet across. It was just, it was probably bigger than that. And it was just gorgeous. And here's all this classically trained, it was more classical style, but it was beautiful. And the sounds were just reverberating off from this beautiful church that was designed for sound. And I'm like, oh, waft, take it in. And then I started to, at the break, I asked Jim how long this group had been around. And he said, I forget, it was somewhere around 6 or 8 months. So I'll say 8 months. But they had probably 80 people. And I went, oh, I'm going to listen and watch this from a different perspective now. Not musically, I'm going to look at it from culturally. And this director was very dynamic, which a lot of directors are. Oh, dynamic?
Like I think showing dynamics? Or?
No, he was just a dynamic, magnetic personality. And thank you. So he, people just hung on his every word. And he was probably 40, although he looked like he might have been 38, but he probably looked like he was 28. And two things. At the end of the rehearsal, here's this beautiful music. The last thing that he said was not, hey, now don't forget that on our performance next Friday, we're wearing the black outfits. It's not what he said. He did not say, and don't forget, sopranos, we need to soar. And he didn't say, basses, now, don't forget that, we need the fullness without leaving that brightness in our sound. We don't need woofiness. He said, if you enjoyed anything about tonight, bring someone next week. And in 8 months, they had 80, 90 people there, probably 90. And I was like, oh. So what he's just done is he hasn't said, hey, learn your music. Hey, make sure you're prepared. Hey, make sure that you're have the right vocal production. No, his charge was what? Engaging every single person to bring in more people. And in 8 months, 90 people, right? Oh. Well, then the next thing that I noticed is that I was sitting about in the middle of the church, left side, I remember, and he was kind of working his way back, but people, of course, were coming to him, asking him questions, and he just kept trying to make his way, and I was like, oh, is he trying to escape? I didn't know what was going on. And then finally, he made his way to me, and he turned and very warmly, I don't remember his name, I'll say it was Jay, said, hi, my name is Jay. what is your name? And then I told him, and he said, Paul, it is a real pleasure to get to meet you. How did you hear about us? And he just engaged me in a conversation to get to know me. Now, why is that important? Because if I'm accepted by the director, then I'm probably going to be accepted by everybody else. That's a much easier on-ramp. So that's another nice little tidbit from, this guy, Paul. The other thing that I wanted to share is that this is the tried and true and steady kind of growth. But I wanted to share with you the Extreme Membership Growth Plan. Yeah. And it's pretty simple. It's a very extreme version, right? As I said, and here's the approach. 1, you go out in public and sing a familiar song where people can be transient. Then you stop singing and you talk to people. And then you talk to them in a way that says, oh, hey, thank you very much for coming out tonight. So where would you like to do? You're singing. Oh, I just sing in the shower. Oh, you know what? I just sing in the shower too because there's no one there to judge me. Da, 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 da. You know, I would love to introduce you to our director, Jackson. Right? You just got promoted, man. So, and if why is that important? It's the same thing as the Bostonian church with Jay. I don't remember who Jay's real name is, but it's kind of like that where, wow. And Jackson says, hey, wow, we would love to have you there. I mean, fantastic. And Jackson's a pretty warm person, and usually directors are pretty warm people. And so now it's a matter of introducing and then getting their name and number, right? Okay, hey, we'll connect with you when it's convenient for you, and you get their information, and anybody can follow that up now. Doesn't have to be the director. Like, hey, Paul, it's John from the Workshop Chorus. I'm glad that you and Jackson got to talk. I mean, he spoke very highly of the conversation that he had with you, and he's such a great guy. You're going to love working with Jackson. So just calling to see when might be a good time to pick you up and bring you along, and fantastic. So is that the extreme part? No, that's stuff that we've talked about already. So what is the extreme part? Here's the deal. On a scale from 1 to 10, right, between singing at a higher level or growing your group, here's what people have said. And I've asked this question many, many, many times. So I can just tell you the scores that will come out is that on a scale from 1 to 10, people think singing at a higher level is about a 7.5, maybe an 8. So we'll say 8. And then growing is like a 9. So if that's truly the case, if that's truly what you think, then you should spend a little more than half of your time on how to grow and a little less than half of your time on singing at a higher level. But what are we doing right now? We're doing all about this and almost zero. I mean, by and large, maybe not every group, but by and large, groups are doing this, almost nothing. So I'm talking about let's level the playing field and let's get after it. Let's spend half of our time. Let's say you rehearse for an hour. Let's spend a half hour not performing, even practicing, or rehearsing, or performing. But just in a very welcoming way, so you're not wearing all the same shirts and all that. And just have people go by and talk to people. It's that easy, everybody. It's that easy. And I have a challenge to any group that would go out and do this and spend half their time working on growing, half of their time. And I'll tell you what, you grow, you will learn music so much faster. You won't even miss the other half of your rehearsal. The question always comes up, hey, can we send multiple groups out? Yeah, as long as you have somebody that's, you have a smaller group performing and you have one person just watching and gently combing the audience, watching for people that are mouthing the words. Because if they're mouthing the words, they're saying something. One, they know the song. And two, they'd like to sing along, but they don't know if they should. And then you can just sidle up next to them and say, hey, do you like this music as well? Oh, yeah, I love it. Well, me too. I happen to know these people. Really? Oh, yeah. I mean, they do this to help. We'll use our example again, children with special needs, and most of them have never sung in public before joining this group. And no way, you're kidding me. No, I'm not kidding. And most of them can't read music. It's just people that want to make a difference. I got to introduce you to Jackson between, after this song. So, yeah, come on. And then we go up and we talk to Jackson and we say, Jackson, I'd like you to meet, I'm sorry, what was your name? Of course, maybe you never got it. This is Theodore. Great. Theodore, this is Jackson. And Jackson does his Jackson thing and says, so Theodore, thank you so much for being here tonight. Wow, we're so happy that you enjoy this kind of music. We would love to have you come out for a night and just check it out and see if it's for you. And if it's not, no big deal. And okay, yeah, I'll get your name and number and on piece of paper, right? And it just works really well. That's exactly what my dad and I did when we were down we were over, I should say, in California. And in, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes, we got 13 people that wanted to join. 13. And then I got a video of 26 people singing from the, in fact, there was a soccer group. They were all there just for a soccer tournament. And they were like, this is so fun. And they're all singing Christmas songs. And the people that knew the songs were singing different parts just so that there wasn't everybody singing the melody. And it was so cool. So that is the Extreme Membership Growth Plan. It is go after it. Spend half your time really committing and saying, because if we did this, my challenge would be, oh, we got to 40 people or 80 people or 120 people and then stop. No. Keep going and then have those groups plant new groups that maybe have a little bit different feel or vibe. Hey, we only want to do shows. Perfect. Show up at this time. That's when we're doing shows. And then you can show up at this time if you only want to do competition. And you show up at this time if you want voice lessons and singing in smaller groups like quartets or quintets, etc. And it can be, you don't have to be one thing and that's the only way to enjoy it, right? So that brings me to another concept. So that's the Extreme Membership Growth Plan. And then here's another concept about how to modularize. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm making it up, and that's why it was tough to say because I'd never said it before.
Modularize.
Jackson's looking it up. All right. So
it only got oh boy.
Okay. So here's the way I see it. Is there are people that I have talked to that I know for a fact have said, if I can't be there for the 2.5 or the 3 hours, then, I'm not going to go because, maybe missing stuff. And, or it's just 3 hours plus the drive, 20 minutes there and 20 minutes back, or a half hour there. It's 4 hours and I don't have 4 hours tonight. And I asked, well, wait a minute. What if it was only 1 hour? Would you do that? Well, yeah, I'd probably go. Okay. So what if the first hour was for those people that needed help learning the music? So that's practice hour. Right? We have practice hour. Or maybe that's a half hour. You can do it however you want. But let's say it's a 3-hour night. Most are 2.5, so you can set this up any way you like. So the first segment is those that need practice. And the goal would be to try to help people learn how they learn. And then the next segment would be about rehearsal and performance. And if you're in the first segment and you say, I don't really know the song, then honor the music by just stepping out for a few minutes while the rehearsal, we can work on artistry and synchronicity and vowels and all this other wonderful stuff. And then, but you just being able to watch, you go, oh, wow, that's what they're going for. You will not believe how much you learn by watching. And then you have this last half hour or however long you want to take it, is just about the camaraderie. And maybe you're doing mix and match smaller groups or quartets. Or yeah, Jackson remembers that we went to one that they did something, we were singing a tag. Oh, it was a full song, yeah. You're singing a full song and then you see this quartet singing and then you say, oh, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to sing baritone now. And then you tap that person out and you're in the quartet. And then someone comes along and changes out the lead and someone comes along, changes out the bass and the tenor. And sometimes people go around and they switch from baritone to tenor, and it's fun, right? So that could be a lot of the fun and the friendship and more fun singing. And if you only want to show up for that part, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Because is the goal to have people only enjoy music or singing the way I enjoy it, right? This is the way we do it. We rehearse or we practice, depending, for 2.5 hours and we go home. And that's all there is to it. Or would you rather have people going, oh, I love this. I can't wait to be there for that. Oh, I love this. I learned my music, so I'm going to be there for that. And I want to hang out afterward and be there for that. Or only have people show up because they had to work late and they show up for that. And that takes all the cares away for the day. That would be awesome. So, how are we doing on time, Jackson?
We've got about 6 minutes.
Okay, so 6 minutes. So here's the thing that I'm going to share. This is probably the biggest overall concept of everything here and on the other side. Jackson, are you up to twisting that around for me?
Yeah.
Thanks, brother. Is that we've covered a lot of ground so far. A lot. And the temptation is going to be, oh, we got to do it all. No, you don't. Bad plan, in fact. So we've talked about, I mean, there's 7 concepts just in this. Did I trap you in? Yeah, we'll get you out. Thanks, buddy. So there are several concepts here. There are multiple concepts here. That's just getting your mind around things. That's a cultural change. We've talked at least about 4 concepts here, each having multiple things going on inside. Naming the mountain and circuitous route, branding, how do you enter and why you do what you do. Hey, if you're going to try to do all that at once, that's a recipe for implosion. So don't try to do it all, right? I appreciate the people, and I love it that people are using these videos and sharing them. But don't feel like, okay, we got to get it. Whoa. Pick one. Pick one. Pick one. And get good at that. And then move on to something else and add to it. Because the way that I like to approach things is it should always feel like just one ball. It's not that hard. Right? It's just this ball, because it shouldn't feel like juggling. Now don't forget to lift the end of the phrase, and don't forget to hit that target ball, and don't forget, posture, don't forget, your knees are going to be slightly flexed, and it pretty soon it feels like, right? And that isn't the deal. It should feel like one ball, and when you get good at holding onto this ball, you grab another one, and you just go, oh, so we've talked about what it feels like to sing at this level. Awesome. Now let's put in the message for this. Okay, so it feels like this, but here's the message. Lost the message. I was trying to fix the music. Nope. Ah, oh, that's what it feels like. To feel the music and sing that through the message. It's just one ball, and we get good at this, and then we can add another one and another, and just take it at the pace that it can be metabolized. What was that?
Just take it.
Yeah, at the pace it can be taken. It's a good way to put it, Jackson. So that's one of the big things, is take it at the pace that you can take it. So I will just say, are there any questions for tonight? I just didn't want to dive into anything too deep, but I did want to bring a couple of things that maybe I had forgotten, and then kind of funnel everything down into something simple. Like, don't try to take this all at once. Other than that, what do you got, Jackson? I know there's a delay, so is there anything?
About, like, to say or questions?
Either.
So there's one.
Yeah.
Joe Trip. I don't know when it came in.
Oh, hey, Joe.
I don't know when it came in, but it says, when we go back to our meetings, what concept should we introduce first?
Yeah, so the question from Joe Tripp is, what, if you're trying to grow, I'm guessing it's musical. That's my guess. So I'm going to answer it this way. You can take it from here and work your way down, or you could take it from here and build upon. And I think you have to just know your group. If they're more conceptual, then you start here and work your way down. And I would say that 95% or more, I start here and just say, hey, let's just get good at these six concepts in this wave box thing. And then once we get that, then we can start experiencing the performance and then building and building and building and building. But there's value in determining why we do what we do. So there's no wrong answer, but knowing why you do what you do. Now, Joe, I know that you have a newer group, so you may want to discuss this because that's going to be cultural. And so I don't know if that's helpful. But anything else, Jackson? All right. So hopefully that's helpful, Joe. Thanks again for watching. Thank you, Jackson. Love you so much. And continue making music.